Hey, I got a question for you. What do you owe people in the present who've been good to you in the past? Have you ever felt that tension? If you have, let's talk about it. I want to walk you through it in this video. So, maybe you've been in this situation, I know I have, where people have been really, really good to you in the past. Man, I can think of so many people who gave me a shot, who gave me an opportunity, who were there for me in the past, who came through for me in ways like nobody else did, man. I'm thinking about people when I was in college, broke, eating bologna. Y'all don't know anything about that. Bologna sandwiches. I remember people, I get random checks in the mail. People just like, yo, you was on my heart. I wanted to send you something to help you get through school. I remember coming up early on in ministry, people giving me opportunities and chances, like, yo, come speak here. Like, oh my gosh. And for me, I'm the type of person that I'm just aware of where I come from. I come from Kilmichael, Mississippi. It is such a small and rural space, and the people there are amazing. But to see just kind of what God has done and where I come from, I'm just very grateful, right? And appreciative. And man, I remember, and I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but I remember almost having like this sense of indebtedness to people who did come through for me or did help me or did open up doors for me. I had like this sense of indebtedness to them. And I remember like really, really specifically, it was like, let's say if it was people who like opened up speaking doors for me, like really early on. And I remember just like, man, being so grateful to be invited anywhere and have the opportunity to speak. And then I remember as life kind of progressed for me, you know, you have kids, and then I got my own church and other responsibilities, business and things of that nature. And I remember, man, almost every time certain people would call, I'm dropping everything going, dropping everything going, dropping everything going, dropping everything going. Then I hit a season where what I was carrying and what I was responsible for was overwhelming. Like I was drowning. I tell this story in my book, Your Purpose is Calling, how in 2014, I woke up, in October 2014, I woke up like this panic attack. I was like leading our churches. I think I had 2 building projects going on at the same time. I was finishing my doctoral work at Fuller and trying to complete the manuscript of my book, or maybe I had just completed the manuscript of my book, Represent Jesus, which was my first one. So, yo, I was just overwhelmed trying to steward all of that and still be a husband and still be a dad to 2 young boys. And I just got to the point where my mind and my heart and my body was like, you carrying too much. And I remember after that, I had to make some tough decisions. There's some stuff I had to get off my plate. And I remember really wrestling with that, not being able to do some of the things that I used to do. And I actually remember even talking to my counselor about it, because here's what happened. Everyone won't be happy with every shift that you make in your life. So just because you make a decision that is good for you doesn't mean it feels good to them. And so there were some reactions that I felt like I was getting during that time period that just made me even feel more guilty. You know what I'm saying? And because I had this sense of indebtedness. But then when I began to talk to my counselor about it, one of the things that I saw was like, okay, Dharius, you got this sense of indebtedness, but then there's also on some people's end a sense of entitlement. It's like they were there for you. They did open doors for you. They did present opportunities for you. But how much do you have to give them before they pay back? So if they open up a door for you in a season, are you indebted to them for eternity? And so I really went through a process where it's like, man, I had to get some help processing that. And I don't believe I'm the only one. I think there are many people who probably struggle with like this sense of indebtedness. And I think if you struggle with this, I think it's a good struggle because it does mean at least you're not unappreciative. It does mean you're not dismissing what people have done for you. It does mean you're not exploitive, that it means that you're not a parasite, that you're just taking from people, that you're constantly making withdrawals without making deposits. Listen, this is for people who want to, first of all, change their life and change others. You cannot do this without coaching and mentorship. I'm inviting you to allow me to be your coach and mentor. Become a part of my tribe called Daniel's Den, based on an individual in the Bible named Daniel, who had a marketplace mandate. God's people doing good work in the public sector for the common good, using their influence, impact, and income to change the world. You get to help other people by making a difference in the marketplace, but you also get to help yourself because you're going to have more peace, more productivity, more purpose, and more profit. I'll see you in the den. It's tough. It's a tough struggle, but it's a good struggle because it means you're a grateful person. Yet at the same time, this is what I learned, and I want to share it with you. Your gratitude has to be married to wisdom. You can practice gratitude in a way that is unwise. You can practice gratitude in a way that is self-destructive for you. And this is what I learned. I learned, now this is, I want you to hear what I'm saying here, because I think we should be grateful, we should be appreciative, and we should reciprocate. But here's what I learned. I learned that reciprocation is similar contribution in value, not the same kind of contribution. So reciprocity may not mean you do for them what they did for you. Reciprocity may mean that you're making a similar contribution to them in terms of value, even if it's not the same thing. And that's important because sometimes people will try to demand of you the same thing. It's like, I gave you time when you needed time. I was there for you, and and that is true, and we should honor that. We should appreciate that. We should be grateful for that. Yet at the same time, reciprocity might not mean you able to give them the same amount of time they were able to give you. So check this out. So let's just say you single. You're single, no kids. You're a woman, one of your female friends is going through situations, you're able to drop what you're doing. You're able to jump on a plane. You're able to go to the house. You're able to say, girl, let's go out, let's get something to eat, let's take your mind off of it. You're able to sit there while she vents and while she cries. You're able to be there and be present for her emotionally. But then let's say something changed in your life. Now you're married. Now you got kids. In addition to all the other responsibilities. Okay, and let's say she has that same situation. Because of circumstances that have changed in your life, you may not be able to respond the same way. It's like, I'm at the house with the kid. I just can't pop up and leave, or I got responsibilities. I got to find a babysitter, or things of that particular nature. So sometimes seasons change, and the season you're in determines what reciprocity looks like. So here's something that kind of set me free, and I want to share it with you. You have an obligation to simply do the best you can in the season you're in with the resources you have available. I think that's what God requires of us in terms of reciprocity. The best you can in the seasons you're in with the resources you have available. Because here's the truth. This is going to be a hard truth. But I think, especially if you're a regular to a channel like this, you kind of come to me, or you come to this channel because you expect this from me, right? So if you're at this channel, it means you got an appetite for this kind of conversation, right? Okay, you don't want nursery rhymes, you don't want feel good, you don't want something that just makes me feel better, you want something that makes my life better. So here's what I want to tell you. Those people in the previous season of your life were a resource, but they were not your source. God was the source. And here's the thing. Thank God God used them. We are grateful that they allowed God to use them. But let's be very clear. If God was determined to get something to you, they are not the only one he could have used. So if it wasn't them, it's very possible it could have been somebody else. So your ultimate gratitude and your ultimate sense of indebtedness can't just stop at the resource. It's got to go to the source. And so at some point, you got to wrap your head around the fact that what you owe people is gratitude and appreciation. What you owe people is reciprocation, but reciprocation doesn't mean you're eternally indebted to them forever. Reciprocation doesn't mean that you are under obligation to meet their demands, because sometimes people will call you unappreciative when the truth of the matter is they're actually entitled. Do the best you can with the resources you got in the season you're in, and owe no man nothing but to love him. Take care.